In the 8th century Middle East, a new dynasty seized control of one of the world's greatest empires, the Islamic Caliphate. Though little remembered in the West today, the Abbasids reigned for 5 centuries. They built Baghdad, one of the most magnificent cities the medieval world had ever seen. They commanded armies that stretched from the Atlantic Ocean to the borders of China. Under their rule, Muslim scholars invented algebra, pioneered advances in medicine and astronomy, and preserved the wisdom of ancient Greece that might otherwise have been lost forever. It has come to be remembered as Islam's golden age. But the Abbasids did not inherit their throne. They seized it in blood and revolution. This is the story of how they rose to power. To understand their rise, we must go back to the year 632. In the Arabian city of Medina, the Prophet Muhammad lies dead. His followers, professing the new religion of Islam, sweep across the Arabian Peninsula like a sandstorm, uniting warring tribes under a single faith and a single leader. Abu Bakr, the Prophet's closest companion, becomes the first caliph, the deputy of God on earth. Then these desert warriors burst upon the world stage with a fury that shocks the ancient empires. To the north lies the Eastern Roman Empire, exhausted after decades of war with Persia. To the east stands the Sassanid Persian Empire, weakened and vulnerable. The Muslim armies take on both superpowers at once. They win victory after impossible victory. At the Battle of Yarmouk, outnumbered Muslim forces destroy a massive Roman army. At the Battle of Qadisiyah, they shatter the legendary Persian cavalry. By the year 651, they have conquered 2/3 of the Eastern Roman Empire and swallowed the ancient kingdom of Persia whole. It is one of the most stunning military campaigns in human history. But even as the empire expands, a question festers at its heart. Who has the right to rule the Muslims? In the year 656, the third caliph, Uthman, is assassinated in his own home while reading the Quran. His blood stains the pages of the Holy Book. Ali, cousin and son-in-law of the Prophet Muhammad, becomes the fourth caliph. He has the support of many Muslims who believe leadership should stay within the Prophet's family, but he faces bitter opposition from Muawiyah, the governor of Syria, and kinsman of the murdered Uthman. 5 years of bloodshed follow. Armies of Muslims slaughter each other on the battlefield. Finally, in the year 661, Ali himself is struck down by an assassin's poisoned sword while praying in the mosque at Kufa. Muawiyah emerges triumphant. He establishes a new dynasty, the Umayyads, and moves the capital to Damascus. For the first time, the caliphate becomes hereditary, passed from father to son like the throne of any king. Many Muslims are outraged, but Muawiyah is powerful and ruthless. The Umayyad conquests continue. Their white banners fly over North Africa, across the Strait of Gibraltar into Spain, and eastward into Central Asia. By the early 700s, the Umayyad Caliphate is one of the largest empires in history, but it contains a fatal weakness. The Umayyads are Arabs, and they rule as an Arab aristocracy. They treat their non-Arab subjects with contempt, even those who convert to Islam. Persians, Egyptians, Berbers, and Central Asians who embrace the new faith find themselves still regarded as inferior, forced to pay special taxes, barred from positions of power and influence. Even worse, the memory of the Prophet's family seems forgotten. In the year 680, Hussein, grandson of the Prophet Muhammad and son of Ali, challenges Umayyad rule. He marches toward Kufa with a small band of followers, but the Umayyad governor sends an army to intercept them. At Karbala, in the burning desert heat, Hussein and his companions are surrounded and slaughtered. Hussein himself is beheaded. His death sends shockwaves through the Muslim world. Those who supported Ali and his descendants, who will become known as Shia Muslims, commemorate this martyrdom every year with grief and fury. Decades pass. The Umayyad Empire continues to expand, but discontent grows like poison in its veins. In the eastern province of Khorasan, where Persia meets Central Asia, agents of a new power move in secret. They whisper in marketplaces and mosques. They speak of justice, of a return to true Islam, of leadership by the Prophet's own family. And in the year 747, their moment arrives. In the city of Merv, a general named Abu Muslim raises a new banner. It is not white like the Umayyads. It is black, the color of vengeance and revolution. The age of the Abbasids has begun. Abu Muslim is a man of mystery. Some say he is a Persian slave who rose through sheer brilliance. Others claim he is the son of a nobleman. What matters is his genius for war and his ability to inspire devotion. When he raises the black banner in Khorasan in the year 747, warriors flock to his cause. Arabs who resent Umayyad corruption, Persians tired of being treated as inferiors, Central Asian converts hungry for justice. They come in their thousands, battle-hardened men who have spent years fighting on the empire's eastern frontier. The Abbasids themselves are an Arab family descended from Abbas, uncle of the Prophet Muhammad. This blood tie to the Prophet gives them a claim to legitimacy that the Umayyads can never match. For decades, Abbasid agents have worked in secret, spreading their message across the empire, building networks of support, waiting for their moment. Now, with the empire weakened by revolt and civil war, they strike. Abu Muslim proves a brilliant commander. He wins battle after battle against Umayyad forces. His army grows with each victory. By the year 749, he has conquered Iraq and occupied Kufa, the city where Ali once ruled as caliph. The revolution is spreading like wildfire. The Abbasids now step forward to claim leadership of this uprising. Abu Abbas al-Safa, whose name means the bloodshedder, declares himself the new caliph. The Umayyads send their finest army to crush this rebellion before it destroys them. In the year 750, the two forces meet at the Zab River in northern Iraq. The Umayyad Caliph, Marwan II, commands his troops personally. He is a brave warrior but a reckless general. Confident in his cavalry, he orders a head-on charge against the Abbasid line. The horses thunder forward, a wall of steel and horseflesh meant to shatter the rebel army. But the Abbasid troops, inspired by their recent victories and fighting for a cause they believe in, stand firm. Their spear walls hold. The cavalry smashes against them like waves against a cliff. The Umayyad attack ends in disaster. Horses fall screaming, riders are torn from their saddles. The legendary Umayyad cavalry breaks and flees. Marwan himself barely escapes the battlefield. He rides south, desperate, hunted. The Abbasids pursue him relentlessly. In Egypt, they finally corner him in a small church where he has taken refuge. They drag him out and kill him. His head is sent to the new caliph as a trophy. But the bloodletting does not end there. Abu Abbas orders the systematic extermination of the Umayyad family. Abbasid soldiers hunt them across the empire. They are dragged from their homes, their hiding places, even their graves. The Abbasids dig up Umayyad tombs and desecrate the corpses of dead caliphs. It is a purge of stunning brutality. Only one member of the Umayyad dynasty escapes the slaughter. His name is Abd al-Rahman, and he flees across North Africa, crosses the strait into Spain, and establishes a new Umayyad dynasty in Cordoba that will flourish for centuries. But in the heartlands of the Islamic world, the Umayyads are finished. The age of the Abbasids has truly begun. Abu Abbas al-Safa moves the capital from Damascus to Kufa, closer to the Abbasid power base in Persia. But the new dynasty faces immediate challenges. Many who helped overthrow the Umayyads had hoped for an end to hereditary rule, a return to elected caliphs chosen from among the faithful. They are bitterly disappointed when the Abbasids make clear they intend to rule as a dynasty, just like the Umayyads before them. In the year 754, Abu Abbas dies. His brother Al-Mansur becomes the second Abbasid caliph. Al-Mansur is cunning, ruthless, and visionary. But his reign begins with a decision that shocks the empire. He orders the execution of Abu Muslim, the brilliant general who had won the revolution for the Abbasids. Abu Muslim has become too popular, too powerful, a potential rival. Al-Mansur cannot allow that. The general who raised the black banner and shattered the Umayyads is lured to the palace and murdered. Rebellions erupt across the empire. The followers of Ali, who had hoped the Abbasids would restore the Prophet's family to power, rise in revolt. Al-Mansur crushes them without mercy. By the year 762, he has secured his throne through blood and iron. Now he turns his mind to a greater project, a monument that will define his legacy and become the crown jewel of the Islamic world. On the banks of the Tigris River, he orders the construction of a new capital. Its official name is to be Madinat al-Salam, the city of peace. But the world will know it by another name, Baghdad. The construction of Baghdad is one of the greatest engineering projects of the medieval world. Al-Mansur summons architects, engineers, and laborers from across the empire. He chooses the site with care, at the crossroads of ancient trade routes where the Tigris River can provide water, transport, and defense. The city is built in a perfect circle, a design never seen before on such a scale. Massive walls rise from the earth, thick enough to withstand any siege. 4 great gates open to the 4 corners of the empire. At the center stands the Golden Gate Palace and the Great Mosque with its famous green dome. Within decades, Baghdad becomes the largest city in the world outside China. Merchants arrive from India, Central Asia, Africa, and Europe. The markets overflow with silk from China, spices from India, ivory from Africa, furs from the lands of the Rus. Gold and silver flow into the city's treasuries. But Baghdad is more than a center of trade. It becomes the intellectual capital of the world, a place where knowledge is treasured above gold. In the reign of al-Mansur's grandson, Harun al-Rashid, the Abbasid Caliphate reaches its golden age. Harun, whose name means the rightly guided, rules from 786 to 809. Legend says he prayed 100 times each day and gave 1,000 dirhams to charity every morning. Stories tell of how he disguised himself as a beggar and walked the streets of Baghdad to see how his subjects truly lived. He is a brilliant horseman, a patron of poets and musicians, and a shrewd politician who understands that power flows not just from armies but from culture and learning. At the heart of Baghdad stands the House of Wisdom, a library and academy unlike anything the world has seen. Here, scholars from across the empire and beyond gather to translate ancient texts into Arabic. They rescue works by Aristotle, Plato, and Galen from oblivion. They translate mathematical treatises from Sanskrit and astronomical observations from Persian. Without their efforts, countless works of Greek philosophy and science would have been lost forever. But they do far more than preserve ancient knowledge. They make discoveries of their own. Al-Khwarizmi revolutionizes mathematics with his work on algebra. The very word algebra comes from the Arabic al-Jabr, part of the title of his most famous book. The Latinized version of his name, algorithmi, gives us the word algorithm. Al-Kindi, known as the philosopher of the Arabs, writes on logic, mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. Hunayn ibn Ishaq, a Christian scholar, translates hundreds of Greek medical texts and earns the title Sheikh of the translators. Their work creates a foundation of knowledge that will eventually flow westward to Europe and spark the Renaissance centuries later. But the Abbasid court is not just a place of scholarship. It is also a place of intrigue, luxury, and danger. Women, though rarely holding formal power, wield enormous influence behind the scenes. Al-Khaizuran, once a slave girl from Yemen, rises to become the wife of one caliph and mother of another. She is famed for her intelligence and learning. She receives foreign ambassadors, debates military strategy, and intervenes in matters of justice. Many whisper that she is the real power behind the throne. When she finally dies, she is mourned as if she were a caliph herself. The fame of Harun al-Rashid spreads across the known world. Charlemagne, king of the Franks and the most powerful ruler in Europe, sends embassies to Baghdad. In return, Harun sends him gifts that dazzle the European court. Perfumes and spices unknown in the West, intricate ivory chess sets, a water clock of such mechanical genius that Europeans believe it must be magic. And most remarkably, a living elephant named Abu al-Abbas, which lives for years at Charlemagne's palace and becomes the wonder of Europe. Yet even at the height of its glory, the Abbasid Caliphate faces threats from within and without. The sheer size of the empire makes it nearly impossible to govern. Regional governors grow increasingly independent. In North Africa, local dynasties begin to assert their autonomy. In the east, the frontier with the Eastern Roman Empire remains a place of constant warfare. Harun himself moves the capital temporarily to Raqqa to be closer to the front. Muslim and Christian armies raid back and forth across the border for years, neither side able to achieve decisive victory. Then, in the year 809, news arrives of rebellion in Khorasan, the same eastern province where the Abbasid revolution had begun 6 decades earlier. Harun sets out with his army to crush the revolt. But on the road east, he falls ill. Within days, he is dead. His 22-year reign had been the golden age of the Abbasid Caliphate, a time of prosperity, stability, and unmatched cultural achievement. But the succession arrangements he made to ensure peace are about to fail catastrophically. Harun had divided the empire between his two sons, Al-Amin and Al-Mamun. It is a decision that will plunge the caliphate into civil war and begin its slow decline. Yet even as political power fragments, the cultural and intellectual legacy of the Abbasids endures. Their contributions to mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and philosophy shape the development of human knowledge for centuries to come. They create a vision of a cosmopolitan Islamic civilization, where scholars of different faiths work side by side, where knowledge is valued above tribal loyalty, where the best of Greek, Persian, Indian, and Arab culture blend into something entirely new. The Abbasid Caliphate will survive for 500 years, far longer than the Umayyads they overthrew. They will face Mongol invasions, internal rebellions, and the rise of slave soldier dynasties that reduced the caliphs to figureheads. But through it all, they remain the symbolic heart of the Islamic world. When Baghdad finally falls to the Mongols in 1258, it marks the end of an era. Yet the golden age they created, the knowledge they preserved, and the civilization they built continue to shape our world today. This is the forgotten legacy of Islam's mightiest dynasty, the Abbasids, the empire that ruled for 5 centuries and changed human history forever.